Start back, and before I start, the tablet that I mentioned earlier, when the meeting started, we've had some more people come in the room since we passed it around, so we're going to repass it around. And if you would, where we'd have a record of your attendance today, if you would put your name on it, if you're here representing a group, please put it out beside it, and we appreciate you doing that. At this time, the chair would turn it over to Chairman Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I just want to take a moment to recognize Speaker Steve McDaniel. He is a state representative that represents Henderson, Chester, Decatur, and Perry counties here in Tennessee. I will just confess to this body and all of the folks who are in the room, he's been a mentor to me and dozens of legislators across the state. He is a very thoughtful legislator, someone who is deeply committed to serving his constituents, and he has been an advisor to not only folks in his own community, but he's really influenced a lot of folks across the state and across the nation. He's got an exceptional national reputation on very important policy issues, and I just am really proud to call him my friend and introduce him and recognize him this morning.
Thank you, Commissioner Woodson. All right, at this time, we'll get back into our agenda, and I will turn it over to Budget Chairman Harold Cannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One sidebar, Mr. Speaker, you did very well. Jamie's one of the best up here, so thank you for your mentorship to her. Committee will recognize Ed Carter to present the 2015-2016 budget.
Thank you, Chairman Cannon. As you well know, over the last several commission meetings, we've had several sessions where we've talked about the budget, and we had an informational meeting yesterday morning to tie up some loose ends and answer any questions. So I'll just present the budget as we have for 15-16, which will begin in July of next year. On the wildlife budget, we ask you to approve a total of $70,082,300. On the boating side, $11,020,200 for a total agency budget in 15-16 of $81,102,500.
Director Carter, thank you. Are there any questions from the commission related to the budget? Are there any questions from the public regarding the budget? As Director Carter indicated yesterday, the budget was presented in an informational-only session to the Budget Committee. There was no deliberations nor action taken. Likewise, because of commitments that the Commission had yesterday afternoon, all action associated with the proposed budget was moved to today. Therefore, the committee has not acted on it. In consideration of that, Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of the 2015-2016 budget.
All right, I'll take it as a motion to have a second. Second. All right, it's been motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, 2015-16 agency budget passes. Right,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. We need to add one item to the agenda with the Commission's indulgence. We typically have a financial report that was inadvertently omitted from the agenda, and with your permission, I'd like to ask Ken Tarkington to briefly go over those numbers. The information should be in your packet.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reiterate what Commissioner Bledsoe encouraged us to do yesterday about submitting suggestions to the agency about revenues. I think that's really important. I think we need not to forget that.
All right, noted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your book, there should be a 3-page report for this month. This month being July, or reporting on the month of July. At the top of the page, the boating registration fund is a little ahead of last year, or in fact, quite a bit. It's not so much that we're that much ahead this year, in that the staff that was handling boating registrations was working weekends last year in order to get those boat registrations handled. The expenses through the boating fund, through the first month is a little less than 6% at 5.7. The Wildlife Fund receipts is the percent is approximately 1.3% against butted against the projection. And as you note at the under the total received in wildlife, we've identified the senior citizens license sales for the month of July as 1,893. The expenses through the first month are 4% of the allotment. And the two permanent funds or endowments are identified at the bottom. The Watchable Wildlife Endowment has a balance of $5.8 million, with a little less than $5,000 that's interest that's available to use. And the Sportsman has a balance of $37,584,000. On the second page at the top, the Wetlands Acquisition Fund balance is approximately $13,800,000. We've not had any expenses, so there's no reason to zero the maintenance fund out as we usually do. And the compensation fund, which is the in lieu of tax, has a balance of $424,000. If you look at your third page, and I usually include that once a year, when the in lieu of tax payments are made to the counties, the Comptroller's Office had those certified and forward them to us. They were paid as of last year in the month of June at the amount of $375,000. And I identified the months that were, the counties that were paid and the dollar amounts paid to those counties. Are there any questions or comments?
Ken, thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the Budget Committee's report.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Chairman Cannon. All right, we're going to the last item on the agenda, and before I turn it over to Chairman McMillan, I want to make a few comments on this